Herzlich willkommen auf meinem Kanal Red Square. Ich bin Boris und auch herzlich willkommen zu einem weiteren Interview auf meinem Kanal und dieses Mal mit Elijah Rodriguez, der zusammen mit Jean-Claude Van Damme die Hauptrolle im neuen Release von Retro Gold 63 Film hat, und zwar We Die Young. Ein wirklich starkes Drama um Gangmitglieder, um Kriegsveteranen. Alles ist dabei. Ich wünsche euch jetzt schon ganz viel Spaß damit. Bedenkt, das Interview ist in Englisch. Aktiviert noch gerne hier unten das Abo und die Glocke, so verpasst ihr keine weiteren Reviews meinerseits. Und wenn es euch gefallen hat, hinterlasst doch gerne einen Kommentar oder den Daumen nach oben. Und jetzt ganz viel Spaß euch.
Welcome, guys, to an exclusive interview with the main actor of the new release from Retro Gold 63, We Die Young. We have Elijah Rodriguez here. He's, you can see him. Welcome, Elijah. Nice to meet you, man.
Thank you for having me on this wonderful show, and thank you for taking the time to speak to me.
Anytime. Thanks. It's a pleasure also for me to talk with you about the movie you have done in 2019 with Jean-Claude Van Damme. So We Die Young, it's the title. Let us talk about the movie at first. What is the story and what can the fans expect from this movie?
For sure. So it's real quick. It's an amazing story about two brothers who live in the slums of Washington D.C. in the outskirts and of the capital. And not many people know this, but around the capital, there's a small square radius where it's one of the most dangerous parts of the city, which is right near, the capital, which is insane. One of the most special, important buildings in the United States is surrounded and crime-ridden with dangerous parts and dangerous cities and dangerous streets. But the concept of this movie is about two brothers who are trying to get by, and he is trying to raise this 14-year-old named Lucas is trying to raise his family and his brother by himself while trying to make a living as a part of a gang member of the MS-13 Mara Salvatrucha, which are gang members from El Salvador. And they're really prominent in the East Coast, and they're really big in Washington. And it's a beautiful story about redemption and making up and atoning for sins, I feel like.
Yeah, I watched the movie and I really loved the movie. And I loved your character. I loved Jean-Claude Van Damme's character. And also, I can spoil that the twists between the storylines, and it was they are connected to each other, and they also find a way to meet each other. And but for example, at first I would say the first question is how did you get the role for this movie?
For sure. I was actually fresh off Sicario. I had finished filming it earlier that year, my previous work, Sicario de Soldado. And this director had the director and writer and producer. He did all three in one. His name is Leor Geller, amazing director, visionary. He had already made a short film for We Die Young. And it was originally a 10-minute piece, I believe, a 20-minute piece on these two kids in another Middle Eastern country. Similar concept, and it had actually won awards, and it had done really well. So he decided to turn it into a feature film, a full-length feature film, because the reception was so good. But now adapted in America with Latino background, right, of an MS-13 member, instead of the slums in India or Middle East, wherever it was. So it was actually a really cool concept that it can be adapted into any part of the world. And it's understandable, like what we were talking about earlier, and it's relatable. A lot of people understand that struggle. So then I was fresh off that. I was back in Texas, taking a little break because I come back from Texas and California. I'm originally from Texas. And I get an audition for We Die Young, a director session. Well, I was sending in videotapes because I wasn't in California yet. And I ended up going through constantly getting a call back. I went back, I kept auditioning, and then I did a director session. And it was like a chemistry read between me and someone else. I forgot who it was. I think it was the guy playing my brother at the time. Yes, my little brother, and Miguel. And the director liked how we both read off each other, and the chemistry was really good. So at that point, I think he casted both of us. And that was my first project I got without ever having to meet in person. He had liked my work on Sicario, and he liked my work, what I brought to We Die Young, with a couple of directions and a couple notes. He liked my approach and take on the character. Sorry about that. And so he ended up realizing that I was a good opportunity and a good actor for this role. And that's how I ended up going to Bulgaria after a month that I got it. And we shot, and it was a really fun experience.
The movie was shot in?
It was shot in Sofia, Bulgaria.
Ah, okay. Nice to know.
Yes.
So, of course, the fans of Jean-Claude Van Damme want to know, how was it for you? I mean, you were acting with Josh Brolin in Sicario.
Benicio del Toro.
And, of course, Benicio del Toro. How was it to act with Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Oh, man. I grew up watching his movies with my grandfather. So off the bat, I mean, that name already holds its weight. I'm a martial artist myself, fellow martial artist myself. So it was amazing and a great opportunity to get to work with him and meet him. And then getting to meet him in person during the first meeting when we're speaking over the script, it was a very humbling experience. And I was really nervous, but off the bat, immediately he pretty much made me feel calm and made me know that this was going to be a collaborative effort. And we spoke about the character in the movie. He met my family. He was very warm and welcoming and very funny and easygoing. So it was really fun, always joking around, always fun. And it was awesome, just getting to work with, nerve-wracking at first, but then just once you're there and you're ready to, when they say action and the cameras are rolling, it's just being in the moment and having fun and realizing that this is a great opportunity and a blessing to be able to work with such a great legend and to be able to say that you're on camera with a name and a veteran who has mastered the craft and done this for a very long time, where you get to learn from them. So I'm very grateful.
Friendly, and familiar.
And familiar and easygoing also.
Nice.
Fun,
sounds great.
too.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a lot of fun.
A lot of fun. Yes, sir.
Let us talk about a bit more and especially deeper for We Die Young, the movie. Can you talk about a little bit the inspiration behind We Die Young and your role in this movie? Because it's for us Germans, it is a different movie from Jean-Claude Van Damme. The most of us are know Jean-Claude Van Damme as action hero, as the good guy, the hero, and the fighting person, the martial artist. And now we have and I think it's important to say we have a different character he's acting. The first time I remember, he never played a role like this before. Even he's not talking any word in this movie. So let us talk about the inspiration behind this movie and your role in this movie.
Well, like I said, this movie is based on the on the director's personal experiences. I know he did serve in the military. I don't remember what military specifically, but I know he was in the Middle East and he experienced and saw stories like that. He also personally went to explore the slums, he told me himself, and see himself and scout and see how it was, how DC was and everything. So that's awesome. We asked permission from the MS-13 as well to make this film. So we definitely, the director approached it, right? And he was working on this movie for a very long time. I mean, the short film had been written and done years prior. So I know this baby was his, it was special to him. And the fact that I saw that and I realized that made me just much more want to be on board and attached to it. The director really, I know he took some personal experiences and it definitely came from that. He didn't tell me too much, right? But it's definitely personal experience. And then written from his storyline of what he went through, and him wanting to tell a story about, since he was a veteran himself, about veterans who leave the military and the systemic oppression they face through the VA, or most of the time being almost forgotten by their country after serving their whole life, or giving up, their life and their years of service for a country that almost forgets about them sometimes. And I know through personal experience, through some family that have served and have been dishonorably discharged or honorably discharged, either way, for some, mistakes or accidents. But I definitely know that this story came from a need of having to say something, and not just because we wanted to make it, but to speak on morality and systemic oppression and PTSD and addiction and immigration and sacrifices and dreams and goals and crime and syndication and just many things, right? But definitely it was more of a social commentary on what was going on at the time, and it's still going on. But many maybe news outlets or social media outlets won't necessarily speak on, because there's other bigger things going on in the world. There are other wars or other scenarios or other mass shootings or whatever. But it's definitely good to have projects that shine some light on these things, because we were talking about it, like a lot of people around the world can relate to these movies. And it's for a certain reason, because we're not the only ones facing those systemic oppressions and problems. So clearly there's a reason why so many people like them and are connecting to it. It's saying something. So I feel like there's a need for these certain type of projects, and there's a need for them to keep coming out. It's a necessity. This project definitely came out of a necessity.
I totally agree with you. Absolutely. The film the movie deals with themes of gang violence and, of course, youth struggle. And how did you approach portraying these intense issues on screen?
For sure. I thank you for asking me that. So I've actually had personal experiences through myself and through friends that I grew up with, seeing them grow up and join gangs and see the gang violence in the areas that I grew up in Los Angeles and in Texas. And definitely seeing both sides and seeing the options and choices that they make and why they make them. And a lot of times it's from them wanting to feel accepted, or wanting to have a sense of family and unity. And so these brothers and these men, or this group of men who look out for them, make them feel that way, give them that acceptance or unity that they're looking for, that they don't get from other places. So again, it's just interesting seeing the psychology and the cycles behind it, or the reasons why people do those things. But I definitely didn't have to do research. It was more personal growth and experience. I did do some research on the system, on youth addiction and the problem with my generation. But just through growing up in my generation alone, I've seen how lost it is and how much they struggle with drug abuse at such a young age. Taking all these kind of controlled substances and glorifying, that lifestyle of partying and drinking and, killing yourself in a sense, instead of doing what's good for you. But that is what's cool. That is what's fun. And so it was more of a sense of me just reflecting on what I've seen and grown up around on social media and my generation, and me speaking on it, through personal experiences. Because I went through 2 public high schools, I was friends with everyone. I was friends with cholos, with gangsters, with nerds, with the actors, with the choir team, with the athletes. I never judged anyone. And because of that, I was able to understand more people, listening to their stories, listening to their upbringings, and understanding them. Because at the end of the day, you realize that we're all human beings just having the same experience, We all want the same stuff deep down. We all want to feel accepted, and we all want to feel heard and understood and seen. And everyone's just trying to
of something.
Exactly. To feel a part of something bigger than you, to feel like you're a community, right? You're a part of something bigger. And whether it be through a gang, whether it be through a brotherhood or a niche or a clique, or acting, or music or sports, whatever you find your connection in your community, or gaming, that's how you find and you feel heard. And I feel like for kids and for young adults or who are going through that gang violence and drug abuse and those addictions, who are self-medicating, are all just looking for that thing of wanting to feel heard, accepted, and seen. And so they're trying to look for their own ways, their own remedies. And when in reality, it's there, you just gotta look inside and you gotta do the inner work, which my character does throughout the story of the film. You see him grow and realize that, you made some mistakes, he's made some mistakes, but he doesn't want that for himself or for his brother anymore. Because at the end of the day, those choices and that lifestyle only leads down one path, which is, death, the hospital, or prison. And with many decisions and many scenarios. And so that you see and are touched on in that movie. And rape, violence, drug violence, drug smuggling, gang violence, all of it, right? Even police brutality, there's all of it, right? There's all of it. Just so all of even it also speaks on military violence, what happens in the war field and in the battlefield, and how you don't know who your enemy is and you don't know who you're shooting at. It's dark, and it's just hectic out there, and I don't know how that is, but I mean I can only imagine. And so I like that all these stories kind of speak on that, and it touches on that again, and it just kind of shows you that all these people are all just human beings going through an experience and just trying to make the best decisions for what they think is best for themselves or what's okay for them.
Yeah, of course. Do you think we always have an option?
That's a good choice. That's a good question. I do believe where there's a will, there's a way, and there's always the easy way
Yeah.
or there's the hard way.
So the
And
consequences.
But there will be consequences and there will be sacrifices to be paid.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there is a choice. I truly believe in that. There is always a way out. You just got to find it and you got to look for it and you got to want it bad enough.
Yeah.
But where there's a will, there's a way. So, yes, I do believe there's always a choice.
Okay, I accept that. I agree with that.
Mhm.
Did you find any personal connections to the story or the experiences of the character Lucas in We Die Young?
Yes, thank you for that amazing question. The reason why I took on this role, I always read a role first and I see if I can bring something to it and if I can connect to it. And I could, because it was about a child who had to grow up faster than what he meant to, and I could relate in that, who wanted better for his family and who was kind of the man of his family, which I can relate to too. And he had to step up a little bit younger than he had to and think for himself and for other people. And, kind of just grew up in a scenario or in an environment where it might not be the best for you, but it definitely hardens you and makes you mature in ways that you would have never matured if you had never been through those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely relate to all of that through those scenarios in those sense. Also, in having personal family and friends who, are a part of gang culture and involved or affiliated with gang culture, I've definitely seen it myself where it doesn't lead to anything good. I definitely respect people and their decisions. Everyone is everyone is in tune to their own opinion. Everyone has their own opinion. Everyone can make their own choices. But at the end of the day, I definitely relate to these. And again, relating to people, hearing them and understanding them, and through personal experiences that I've been through. This story was about a child who was trying to redeem himself for his past mistakes, and a man too. And I relate in that sense of trying to atone for your sins and learn from your past mistakes and be better than yesterday. Even if in having to deal with the cards you're dealt, if they're not the best, you make the best out of the situation. And that's what my character was doing. And at the end of the day, I think he did grow and he did realize he wasn't making the best decisions, especially in seeing everything his little brother was doing. He was reflecting. It was almost like seeing it in third person, like, oh, this is what I went through. And I know I wouldn't want my little brother going through it, but unfortunately, his brother does go through it, which forces him to mature and grow up and make decisions that push them to the edge and make them leave, but for a better life, for sacrifices, and for better dreams, for their dreams, which is what I've related to. I've had to make sacrifices for my dreams in my life and make big moves, right? And big decisions that might cost something, but at the end would benefit me and my family in the long run. So yeah, this role and this movie was very personal to me, and I could relate to it in so many ways. Also, in another sense, that my family, I come from a family of veterans, and the movie speaks on a veteran with PTSD. So I've seen firsthand and understand the damage that war and PTSD and trauma can have on the human psyche and body. So it was definitely a very personal role and project to me.
The movie has a, I would say, gritty and realistic tone. So how did you, and especially the director, work together to ensure the authenticity of the environment and characters?
For sure. So, as I said before, what I really appreciated about the director is he went out there and scouted Washington, D.C. He was in war himself, so he understood the grittiness and realism of war and of what it's like to grow up in those environments, seeing it himself when he went to the slums. And then me and him spoke on it. I did my own little research on MS-13 and the gang violence up there. I saw some footage, some documentaries. He sent me some information. And then we worked with it. I mean, we had a child on set. It was very gritty and realistic. And so what the director would do was the first day when I met the jester, he wanted us to not really get along. And me, I get along with everyone on set. Everyone, I want to be your friend. He told him to not be my friend and to be kind of rude to me and cold and distant. And I sensed it immediately, right? We were rehearsing. He had kept his glasses on. I know I try to shake his hand. He kind of looks away, ignores me. And I'm like, okay. But I get it. And then he told me later on, because he wanted to prep for me and his character's tension.
To dive in
To
into
dive.
the role,
Yes, he was very method. He was very diving and pulling from personal experiences and staying in character. And he's like, don't joke. He's like, me and the cast would joke a bit, but he was very like, nah, try to stay in the scene and be like, you're right. And so it was a lot of that, staying in character, building on the tension, and setting the mood of, the streets out there where we were at. It was very gritty. Like we went to I don't know where exactly, but in Europe, in Bulgaria, we went to some slums parts because we wanted the real essence and the vibe. And so we went to some slums areas, and then all of that captured the essence. And so it was, being in a new country too, never been to Europe before. All of that was energy, working with Van Damme, working with the crew, working with the director. The director definitely made sure that he explained the background and what's going on in the scenes, and the special effects people and makeup were awesome. Working with prepping the bullet holes, right, and the cuts, all of that. Since it looked so realistic and they were so good at it, it added to the realism of being in that scenario. So definitely, it was just everyone being 100% in, especially the director and the main cast, of wanting it all and staying in character. That definitely helped with the realism and his experiences, and everyone pulling from their personal experiences of what they've been through to bring it to the camera and to the world.
The movie sheds light on the harsh realities faced by young people. So in violent neighborhoods, what message do you personally hope the audience takes away from this movie?
A message. If I could put it into one word, something they could take away, or one sentence would be
or what kind of message you want to send your the viewers?
I think it would connect with the movie that if you're willing to, where there's a will, there's a way. If you really want it bad enough, and you're willing to sacrifice and put in blood, sweat, and tears, and put in the work and discipline, you can get it. You can achieve it, no matter what it is. If you can see it in here and you can speak it, you can manifest it. And with anything, because we are capable of great things. It's just harnessing that energy, that life force, and redirecting it instead of focusing on the negativity or maybe the problems in your life. Focus on what you do have and what you can do. As long as we're alive, I live by this. As long as we're alive, then that's a day for you to make it a better day. That's already a chance for you to make whatever you want come true. And it's just a day at a time. Just keep chasing it a day at a time. It's not about getting there overnight because not everyone does that. Simply about the little small battles that you win on the daily, showing up for yourself on the daily, and over time those little battles will gather up to bigger victories. And that's what it's about. So yeah, man, just believe in yourself and put in the work, and you can do it.
What was the most memorable or challenging moment for you during the production of We Die Young?
That's a good one. I had to think about it. There were a couple moments. We did have some long shooting
You don't have
nights.
to choose only one. If you have two,
Okay,
we
for
have
sure.
the time. I mean, hey.
For sure. There was there was a scene where I had to do some stunts. It was like a little stunt work, and I had a stunt double, but I like to do my own stunts. So I asked. It was a parkour specialist, and it was a little parkour move. I had to jump over. They're chasing us, and I had to jump over a fence or like a ledge. And we're rehearsing it in between takes. And right in between, as he's showing me how to do it, my parkour stunt double, I fall, I messed up, and I almost land on my face, and I fall pretty bad. I had to sit down and like take a break, and I scrape myself, and the director gets mad, and everyone's like, whoa, relax, like if you fall on your face, you can't do the movie, so relax. But I finally did the stunt, the move, and it was awesome, and I got it down. And it was worth it. I looked really cool while doing it. That's like my favorite part of the movie. One of my favorite parts, right? And then the really hardest part for me was the scene on the train station at the very end where we escape, and it's a big speech between the big Mexican standoff, between Van Damme's character and
Daniel, yeah.
Lucas and Jester and everyone and Rincon, and we're all there on the train tracks and they're holding the gun. So we probably did that take about 50, 60 times. We did them 2 nights
50,
back to
60
back.
times.
Yes, maybe
Whoa.
more, honestly. Maybe more. Hey, but I respect that about the director because he knew what he wanted and we were going to do it until he got what he wanted and needed. I ran out of tears by like the 30th take. So I had to cry a bit, but it was great having to stay in that energy. And the director helped a lot, I'm telling you. You asked me how I got into character. The director was an acting coach too, almost. He was an actor himself. So he definitely understood what an actor needed and he brought it out of me. He would constantly bring out this energy out of me and help me re-energize and talk to me like an acting coach. And so it was really great collaborating with the director. The director and I just really collaborated on this project to bring it to life and to understand it together. But on top of that, it was that part where it was just such an intense scene and it was so cold. I'm from Texas and I do realize Europe gets cold, especially during the winter. And we were there during December and November. So not only did I have to not shake like a chihuahua, but I had to focus on my lines, focus on the intensity, be out there 2 nights in a row in a little jacket, right? I'm pretty sure Europeans are used to it. I would see y'all like walking around in shorts and, a little t-shirt, but I was freaking bundled up. Like, I'm from Texas where it's like 110 every other day. And so, hot, humid weather. And it was just that accumulating to the weather while trying to perform and do all my lines like 24/7 because the whole movie was shot in freezing cold temperature, even though might not seem like it. Sometimes you can see our breath, but it was a great experience at the end of the day because I was able to push and learn through those experiences and push through the freezing cold temperatures and pain and be more resilient. And it made me a better actor too. through no matter what climate or what's going on, I can still focus and give my lines. So it was awesome.
For me, personally, the biggest takeaway from this movie was that we had a lot of personal transformations in this movie. The characters have so many personal transformation. It was amazing to see that. And we were talking about redemption and the universal message of this movie. So what is your biggest takeaway from the working from this movie, and of course about the themes about life, death, and of course survival?
So yeah, that's what I love about this movie, and I hope that people take away from a couple of messages and things I took away was not everything's black and white. You know, sometimes good people make bad decisions, and bad people make good decisions. Your past doesn't define you, and your worst moments don't define you. I think what this movie, like you said, what it spoke about was redemption. No matter how far gone you think you are, like I said, as long as you're alive and breathing, that's always a chance for you to make better choices and to dream a better dream or just make your life a better situation. You know, you're in control in a certain way. In certain aspects, you are in control of certain things in your life. Not everything, but certain things. And this movie teaches that. I also like the hero's journey that these characters go through, like you said. A lot of these characters evolve and grow throughout the story, especially Lucas, my character, and Rincon too. They both learn about what it is about sacrifice and putting your family first and doing what's right for your family. And sometimes making the hard shots that aren't necessarily easy, but it makes, it goes back to do the means justify the ends. But mainly the big theme I wanted to say that I think I took away from all this was that as long as, no, your past doesn't define you. Tomorrow doesn't have to worry. You don't have to worry about tomorrow. Just focus on today because the whole movie takes place within 24 hours. I don't know if people realize this. It's a really fast-paced scene, action movie. And all these decisions are being made within a day. And all these growths and heroes' journeys and, arcs, character arcs are happening within a day, which is crazy to think about. But that's how life is, fate rarely comes knocking, or destiny when you have a choice. I live by that. And when these decisions and fate does come and you make those choices, they either help you grow and help you learn from those mistakes, or you take the path or the choice that keeps you down the same hole and that same self-destructive hole, or you take the path and the choice of growth and development and learning and making the harder choices that might not feel okay right now and good right now, but in the long run, the future you will thank you. I think this movie speaks on all of that, on just morality and choices and fate and destiny and doing what you think is right for you. And I like to just, say about that to everyone. I hope you take that away and you make sure that you do what's right for you, no matter what circumstance you're in. Do what you think is best for you and just sacrifice for those dreams and chase those dreams.
And I think sometimes you have to break out the circle, huh?
Exactly. Break that cycle, break out of that normal cycle that you've been living your whole life. If you want different, you got to move different, You got to do something new if you want something new. You got to step out of your comfort zone to grow, to learn. And that's what this movie kind of shows, At the very end, they end up, moving somewhere else and going to chase their dreams and making it into the baseball team, because my character had dreams of being the next Derek Jeter baseball player, the next MLB champion, but obviously over time. But he had to make some sacrifices before that to take care of his family and his brother. And then he learned, and he used those sacrifices and put him into his dreams. And that's what you got to do sometimes. So yeah, just put in blood, sweat, and tears and go chase those dreams. Life's too short to not chase that life that you want.
We talked so much about now we die young, but give us a little bit, a point of view about Elijah Rodriguez.
For sure. Um,
For example, you told us before you love martial artists and
yes.
arts, and you do it for yourself. What kind of martial arts?
I practice Jeet Kune Do, which is the way of the intercepting fist, which is the philosophy and original martial art that Bruce Lee developed. I practice, which is pretty much practice take what works and drop what doesn't, which is practicing every martial art, boxing, taekwondo, karate, kung fu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, wrestling, you name it. And it's also a philosophy in life where that Bruce Lee took and I take in my life and I take with martial artists that I meet, and working with Van Damme was a similar concept. When I see him kicking butt and doing his own stunts at like 60 something years old, still chasing his dreams, still putting in the work years later, right? That's what shows me, and that's what I stand for, and what I live for, which is like what martial arts has taught me, and what I'm telling you guys to, leaving with that message that through blood, sweat, and tears and determination and discipline of oneself, making the choices that benefit you today and make you better today, and you benefit from in the long run, you are only going to be better 5 years from now, 3 years from now, and you're going to be where you want to be, because the way this world works and this life works is if you master yourself and you hone your mind and your skills and your body and your energy onto something and you really want it and you focus on it, we are powerful enough, and our life force, chi, chakra, whatever you want to call it, we are special enough to make it come true or to bring it to fruition, whether it be your problems. If you focus on your problems are going to grow. If you focus on your dreams and your hopes, and your hopes and dreams are going to grow. It's just how it works. So I took that and I live that, and I take that approach in martial arts and on in everything in life and in movies. And that's what I want to do in my movies and show through martial arts films and concepts and ideologies of, romanticizing life, appreciating people, living with honor and respect, and just doing the right thing, and doing what's good for people in life itself, and living by a code of honor, which is the Bushido code, which is, do unto others what wants to be done unto you,
Yeah.
treat others how you want to be treated. And once you do that, and once your heart is in the right line, in the right mindset, like what martial arts taught me, to not fight for, most people think martial arts is fighting for selfish ends, but it's actually once you learn how to fight, and martial arts is actually bigger than that. It's not just physical, but it's mental, spiritual, and physical. And it teaches you to do the right thing and to fight for what's right and to put in the work and determination and discipline to achieve what needs to be done.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I stand for.
So you were talking about legends like Bruce Lee, Van Damme,
Yes.
and you were telling us you were grown up. You have grown up with movies like from Bruce Lee, Van Damme, Stallone, and whatever.
Alpha Diaz, every action star, Jason Statham, all
Yeah.
of them.
Do you have any more role models?
Yes. Actors or just anything in life necessarily?
I would say both. Tell
Both?
us at
Okay.
first your role models from
Mhm.
movies, and
Mhm.
then of course your private part,
Okay.
your
So
personal.
first, movies in life, well, because I'm an actor and martial artist, so a lot of them would be like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Van Damme, Donnie Yen, Jet Li, Chuck Norris. A lot of those guys, again, the determination and discipline they bring to not only their craft of martial arts, but their acting is what I admire about them. And that's why they get so far in life, in my opinion. Other people I admire and look up to that I think we can all learn from would be Muhammad Ali, boxer, legend. The way he spoke and carried himself. And he was bigger than life. He was a poet, an artist, a creator, a social commentarist. He stood for things bigger than him. He stood for social equal rights for his people and for many other things. Those are the people I look up to. Same with Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee stood for, accepting others in a time where, racism was kind of eminent and huge, and he helped be more accepting, and he brought and introduced kung fu, something so beautiful, and an ideology, an Eastern mindset to the Western world when the Eastern world didn't want it to be introduced to the West. The Chinese didn't want non-Chinese practitioners in kung fu, but because he took a risk and sacrificed and moved to America against the will of his own people and his own culture, we ended up getting kung fu. And there's people like me who are able to practice the martial art because he was willing to take that step.
Yep.
Same with I look up to who else? I look up to Eminem and who else? Michael Jackson and Martin Luther King, because these people were all again bigger than life, resembled standing for something bigger than yourself, and not just mastering one thing and doing one thing, but many other things. But my biggest idol would be Jesus Christ, and mainly for how he moved, how he walked, how he spoke, and how he taught to love the world and to respect each other and to just, follow in his steps and to just be the light of the world and to do what's right. And to just, he showed us that he just wants love for everyone. And all these people I feel like kind of are similar. Like I admire them because they're similar to the one of the greatest, but in the sense of all standing for something bigger than themselves. Not just doing it for movies, not just doing it for music, not just doing it for themselves, but for life, for the people. And those are the people I admire because I want to do similar things like that. And I want to follow in their footsteps. And just great things. Another great influence of mine would be Kanye West. That man is one of my biggest influences because he doesn't let anything stop him. He doesn't let anyone tell him what he can or can't be. And that's the same message I want to bring across to people. Believe in yourself, know who you are, know what you're good at, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't let anyone tell you who you are, what you can't do, because they tried to tell me when I was trying to chase my dreams, when I wanted to be an actor since I was little and I wanted, people told me I wasn't going to do it. They told me I wasn't going to be it, that I was, I wasn't good enough, I wasn't pretty enough, whatever it may be. I wasn't, I was too short, too this, too that. But you know what? I'm still here standing today, and I'm standing right now, having worked with great people and having been blessed and knowing where I stand. So I want to have this message, and that's why I admire these people. And I hope one day people admire and look up to me for what they stood for and for what I stand for, because I'm simply just, I see myself as a continuation of all their legacies. It's not really me. I'm just continuing Bruce Lee's legacy. I'm continuing Muhammad Ali's legacy. I'm continuing Kanye's legacy, which is all the same concept,
Yeah.
Believe in yourself, master yourself, put in the work, and do it for you and for the world, and the rest will come. The rest will align. Simply master yourself. And that's literally what I stand for. And those are the things that I admire in other people, and I hope people see in me eventually. But just being bigger than life.
Create your own legacy.
Your own path, exactly.
Yeah.
Create your own path, create your own destiny. Don't be a follower. Everyone can be a leader. You can learn from these people that I admire. That's what I do. I learn from them and I take what works and drop what doesn't, like Bruce Lee said. But in learning from them, you do see what works and what doesn't. And some things do work and some things did make the world a better place for a reason, for a reason. There's a reason why they are still talked about to this day because they stood for things bigger than themselves, because people still learn from them, people still read about them, people still admire them. And that's what I admire about these people.
Awesome.
Yes. Thank you for having the time and taking the time to talk about this film.
One last question I have.
Of course.
One last question. What we can expect from Elijah Rodriguez in the future?
Yes, sir. So like I said, I'm a martial artist. I definitely plan on following down that path. I want to open my own dojos eventually. I do want to compete in the Olympics or Taekwondo, a couple other schools. Yes, following Bruce Lee's footsteps like that. Like
Nice.
truly be a true martial artist and an actor and do other things. I am a fashion designer. I love fashion, and so I'm gonna drop my own fashion labels and clothing line. I make music. I'm a rapper and a musician. I'm a screenwriter. I'm a producer. You're gonna see a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you're not
Like I
only an
said,
actor, you're an artist.
I'm an artist, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm an artist. So, like I said, life is too short to stick to one thing. I love everything in life, especially art, and whatever it may be in art, I am gonna master it and I'm gonna do it. I love to paint and design too, and draw. I'm gonna do all those things, and you guys will see a lot of good things coming from me. I have a couple projects lined up. I can't speak too much about for,
Okay.
little reasons, but you guys will see more of me, and you guys will see a couple more martial arts movies from me, hopefully. So I hope you guys love this movie. I hope you guys walk away having taken something that you can maybe apply to your life or leaves you, thinking about life, where you can maybe take something away and do something, apply it to yours. But I hope you had a good time enjoying this, watching this movie and watching behind the scenes and watching us talk about it and how it was made.
Elijah, what can I say? Thanks so much for the time, the words, your personal words. It's really amazing. Elijah, thanks so much. You are my first interview, really,
Awesome.
my first
Awesome.
interview, and
You're a
I'm
natural,
really
man.
looking forward to see more from your artist side.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best from my heart.
Thank you. Same to you. And this might be your first interview, but I mean it's one of my favorite interviews that I've ever done. So you're a natural, man. Keep doing that.
I think you will go your path.
Thank you.
And I wish you really all the best.
Thank you.
And
thank you. I just wanted to say thank you, Germany, for taking the time to view this movie, and I hope you guys love it. And shout out, I'm a huge Bayern fan, by the way. So
the movie deserves this release, really.
thank
It
you.
deserves. I was very overwhelmed of. I have to say, for example, Jean-Claude Van Damme's new role. I didn't expect that.
Yeah,
and
it was different.
Yeah, it was absolutely different. And I think we have to give him the chance to show another role, another way to act.
Right.
And it's different. It's new for us Germans and the movies we all love here in Germany. So, but also your role, it was absolutely fantastic. A great story, intensive, very intense. And Elijah, thanks so much, really. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you. I'm glad Germany gets to experience this film the proper way, through distributed properly now, and that this movie gets its proper light. And I hope that you guys love it just as much as I loved working on it, and just as much as I love being a part of it.
We will let you know.
Please do. Thank you guys. I hope you guys have an awesome day.
See you, my friend.
See you. Have a good one.